The following is a special presentation by NCC TV, brought to you by Newcastle County Government, Thomas B. Gordon, County Executive.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Newcastle County's 2015 Service Awards. I want to congratulate everybody in this room on a phenomenal year. Everywhere we go, we hear that Newcastle County is the best-run government, not just in the state, perhaps in this region. And it is because of the hard work of everybody in this room. This was a tough year, this past year. As you know, we had to make a lot of deep cuts, sacrifice. This county executive has produced a surplus, I think, for every year that he's been in office. But I think he'd be the first one to tell you that this was probably the hardest year for him to achieve that. We had a huge budget crunch, and there were a lot of people that contributed to getting us not only out of the red, but into the black. And I'd like to recognize some of those people at this time. General Manager Wayne Merritt, Special Services, he's the big winner. He was a... He was able to identify $650,000 in savings out of the department. Those were some deep cuts that his CFO, Kathy DeChristofaro, helped him with. Tony Gardner, John Yearley, they were able to come up with $400,000 in savings out of IS, clip their budget, and it wasn't just a cost-cutting story, it was also a revenue enhancement story, and there were a few stars that helped get us here. First, let me recognize, number one, we had prescription rebates. Those payments were accelerated so that we could get the money in time to be positive cash flow. Cheryl McDonald led that with $750,000 in additional money that we probably wouldn't have gotten by the time we needed it. Cheryl, thank you. 1.3 million? Okay, 1.3 million. And last but not least, and there were a lot of people that got us here, but last but not least, Rob Paolo and Bob Merrill took on a tough task together. They may have made a lot of people angry, but let me tell you, they got the job done. They were able to identify an asset inventory that was just burning money, just sitting there that nobody paid attention to. And they launched a GovDeal project, and not only did they increase the amount year over year by about 250%, they were able to achieve about $300,000 in additional revenue for the county that we otherwise would have never gotten. So Rob, thank you very much. Bob Merrill, thank you. And it's important that we recognize everybody that got us here, that, you know, look, we're the ones that identified savings and may have been the ones that made the decision. But we know the pain and the cuts rested with all of the employees of Newcastle County. And that is why this county executive made good on a commitment that if we get back, you guys would get back. And let me tell you, it hasn't been very popular. If you've read the letters to the editor, if you've read some of the emails that my boss has gotten, for some reason there are people that don't believe that performance should be rewarded, but we wholeheartedly disagree with that. So for the first time in a decade, we are really proud to say that we are going to give back. This county executive and this council have decided to give back to our employees and do a one-time bonus of $750 for the first time in a decade. So thank you again for a phenomenal year. And with that, I will pass it along to Jim McDonald.
You're going to be next. Yeah. I like your stuff. Sorry.
Let me, Dave said a lot I agree with. You're on the division workforce, and we've always been very, very proud of all of our workforce, day in and day out. You know, we're in a situation in this world, in this state, in this county, where the economy is crashing. Planning board didn't meet in the last 2 times because they have nothing in the pipeline. We lost all of our manufacturing jobs. We're the last in wages in the country. And that doesn't spell really good for the future resources of the state, city, county. And so what you're seeing, the fight that we're having to make the resource available, keep the benefits and salaries, have to continue. Dave and Marcus have been working every day on projects that are a little bit outside our purview, whether it's the stock market or trying to save Comores or the Port of Wilmington, because those three could, in the course of 5 years, generate jobs that could start people buying homes and believing in the American dream. But one of the people that we have to work closest with and give credit to is in council is George Smiley. George Smiley's here today. Now George is literally at every event. He's probably the one council person, if you're in this district, you're going to hear from. And he's very active. And we have to have a close working relationship with the head of finance, because without him, none of this would be possible. He's sorry today. He said, go ahead and put an offer in on GM. You know, he regrets that day, but that led to a whole lot of good things. And I would ask George just to come up for a minute, since he's at every event, if he would come up for a minute, just talk about it.
It's no surprise, everybody here. Nobody expected to hear those kind words about me, did you? Trust me, I don't either, and you won't read them. Now, I want to applaud all of you in the room. We have Betsy here, 35 years of service. We've got one long. I jokingly said those with 40 and 45, it took them a few months to locate them, but I'm glad to see they did round them up. I mean, I left my last career with a little over 33 years, and I'll tell you, for me, that was 32 long. So I appreciate you all being here. Yeah, we've got tough roads ahead. You all know that. Finances being what they are, there's a slight uptick, we hope. County Executive, I'm sure everybody appreciates the 750. I wish I was up here telling you, enjoy it with the step 11, but I'm not. But we're not done. We're going to keep working on getting the funding to take care of what we need to make sure you get what you deserve. And on behalf of the 7th District and the other 11, we know you do a good job day in and day out. And believe me, I appreciate it. And the first day you don't think I do, help show me the door. Thank you very much.
George always kids me, but I don't think anybody can ever say I've said a bad thing ever about George Smiley. I say he's the hardest working council person we have. He gets in there at 8 o'clock in the morning. He thinks he's full-time county executive. That's another issue. But I would like to just real quickly. I would like to let Rolls, Mike Kozikowski, come up just for a minute, and we'll let him. Appreciate all three that just come up before the ceremony and say hello.
Thank you, Tom. Well, good morning, everyone. As we all know, when we celebrate, recognize service awards for our staff, because we realize that we're only as good as our staff. So when you provide the type of customer service that makes us all proud, and today I'm going to be recognizing 2 of my staff. Let me say your staff, because really it's your office. You elected me to be your gatekeeper. And of course, understanding the importance of not only the amount of years of service you apply, but also making sure that you acknowledge and you're thankful for the impeccable customer service that they provide. And are we starting the ceremony today? I mean, can I recognize? Okay, excellent. Well, I have a Deputy 2, Priscilla Chandler, 35 years of service. And Priscilla started her career with county government at the airport, the first 2 years. 33 years in the recorder of deeds office. And Priscilla started out as a clerk typist, and then she went to a junior administrator, and then she's been one of our supervisors for the past 20 years. and she's been a great asset to the Recorder of Deeds office. Priscilla, would you come up and receive your 35-year award? And I have one other, my Chief Deputy, Tom Ferrier. Tom, you here today, or are you back in the office making sure you hold down the fort? I guess Tom is not here today, so I will definitely take it back to the office, but I'd like to say a few words about Tom. Tom has been in the Recorder of Deeds office for 30 years. And of course, when I became the Recorder of Deeds back in 2002, I definitely liked promoting from within. So Tom was a clerk typist that worked in the scanning department, and realized that he has the skills and ability, but he also has the same type of cooperational management skills that make us a perfect match. And he's been a great Chief Deputy for the past 12 years, and just want to let everyone know how much I appreciate his service. Well, thank you everyone, and have a great day.
Good morning. The first thing we should do is reach out and thank the people who put all this together. Angela did a great job getting the caterer arranged for us. Marjana and Christine from HR. And if I'm missing anybody, it's my apologies, because I'm not really sure who worked on it, but I wanted to recognize the ones that I did see. Right at the top of the hour, going to recognize that we do have our Register of Wills, Ciro Poppiti. Is he still here? Ciro Poppiti. Sheriff Trinidad Navarro. His Chief Deputy, Stu Snyder. Fortunate Mike's here. Recorder of Deeds, Mike Kozikowski. Councilman George Smiley is here. You just heard from him a moment ago, but I want to recognize him.
I'm selling drinks.
We're going to check your pockets when you leave.
I'm a good friend.
We've got the State Lodge FOP President, Freddie Calhoun, here. Past President of 459, Bud Lockert in the back. And if we could have all of our GMs stand up for a moment so we can recognize them. I see Joe Bryant's here, George Haggerty, Tony Gardner, Wayne Merritt, Sophia Hansen, and County Attorney Brian Tuckakai, and Mike Coop. Thank you, everyone. All right, we're going to start with the service awards, and we're going to start with County Council first. So I'm going to have Mr. Smiley come up and be the presenter.
I hope it's cash.
It's almost all cash. Some checks. Some change.
Yeah, it'll work.
It's going to be an internal chargeback.
I knew that. That was the biggest I ever known when I came on council. Cross charges. What a nightmare.
If we could have Betsy Gardner come up. And I'm looking here for the years of service. 35 years of service. Want to say it?
I just want to say, you know, on behalf of all the council, and quite honestly, the county, Betsy keeps the council moving, keeps it going. And I would have to guess that had she not come to public service in council, she would have been a school teacher. Because every 2 years, she begins teaching all over again after the elections. So, thank you very much, Betsy. Much appreciated.
Next is going to be HR with Helen McKinley.
Yeah, I like that. I'm coming back.
And I'm looking for 30 years of service. Helen?
Well, like all of you and some of this room here, Helen started out as a summer worker in 1981. She was with Recorder of Deeds. Then she moved on to the Office of Pathonetaries, the Treasurers, the Payroll Department, before she landed here with Human Resources. Like everyone here, she constantly serves not only the public, but now she serves all the employees here in the room. Anytime you call up, we understand here in HR how it's important to serve the employees. Something that you might not know about Helen, in her off time, she plays in a band, she plays guitar, and she also is an avid Philly fan. But I wanted, oh, well, they're going to do better. They're going to do better next year. But we cannot say enough as far as for the HR staff, because Helen has the institutional knowledge. And that's right now, that's what we're trying to pass on to our other folks and cross-train, because she was away a week and a half on vacation, and everybody was like frantic. Oh my God, what are we going to do? Because so much relies on Helen all the time for the day-to-day operations. So I want to say thank you to her. I'm very appreciative. I've got a great staff that I'm working with. Thank you, Helen.
And I understand Marie Walther is on vacation today, but she's getting recognized for, and it doesn't have the years of service on here. Give me a second. She has 30 years of service. Next up is Admin Services. If I could have Tony Gardner come up. And he's back in the room, but I want to take time to recognize Chief of Police Elmer Settings here.
Good morning, everyone. Tony Gardner, Chief of Administrative Services. The first person I want to bring up is Ruth Kozikowski.
I think it's a puppy.
Okay. Ruth started with the county in March of 1985. She started in the clerk of court office, which now is the state office actually at this point. She was promoted as a clerk typist 1, clerk typist 2, clerk typist 3, account clerk 1, 2, 3. In 1998, she became the purchasing agent. She's also the vice president of Delaware Public Purchasing Association. She's a national member of the National Institute of Government Purchasing. Throughout the years, she's worked in accounts payable, treasury, building maintenance, purchasing. She has 30 years, I mentioned she has 30 years of experience. There's a lot of things to list. She moved to the Central Service Records, the department split, and then she moved back to purchasing. So right now she's a buyer within my group, and she does an outstanding job. One of the things I wanted to point out is that I know the CEO mentioned Gov Deals, and she was really instrumental in starting Gov Deals. Her and Tony, they work on Gov Deals. We just reached the $1 million mark this year in Gov Deals as a whole since then. So without further ado, Ruth Kozikowski.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the next person I'd like to bring up is actually Tony Frizon Jones. Okay, as she makes her way up here. As she makes her way up here, she started 20 years ago, in exactly 9/11/95. She started in the mail room, was a backup in the mail truck, and the backup in the city mail room. She got promoted in 1997, where she became an account clerk in the Registry of Wills. She then worked 10 years there, in which time she was promoted to account clerk 2. She was hired as a purchasing agent in 2010, which is in the Office of Procurement, where she works right now. She was really instrumental, like I mentioned, in Gov Deals, but also her passion is working for the union in Local 1607. She's currently a secretary where she really supports her brothers and sisters in the union solidarity. Thanks, Tony. Okay, I have another, the next two people are actually not here right now, but I'd like to just acknowledge Jean Howie, rather. She has 45 years of experience. Oh my goodness. So she's been here 45 years, and I mean, I was like this high, maybe. But she started in 1969, where she worked as a data processor, and she worked in assessment, land use, risk management, purchasing, records, and now she works in administrative services in the mail room, as well as the print shop. Okay, I'll accept the word for Jean Howie. 45 years. Okay, last but not least, Debbie McLemore. She's not here today as well. She has 35 years of experience. She started in the City Council building as a data processor as well. She's now working in the IS department. She deals with all the cell phones and things of that nature. Anything that's dealing with the phones, Debbie McLemore is the person to deal with. So she has 35 years of experience, and she handles all kinds of issues in regards to the phone service. So without further ado, Debbie McLemore, 35 years.
And as I stand up here, and one of the burdens of being the MC is you always inadvertently miss people. Chief Larry Tan and Chief Jeffrey Miller from Communications and Paramedics are here also. And I don't miss anybody else that's unintentional. Well, yeah. Next up, we're going to have Finance, Mike Coop.
Good morning, everyone. Finance, we have two people. Our first person's absent, Denny Hardman, but I'd like to recognize Denny. Denny's out doing what he does very well for Newcastle County, collecting taxes. He started a new program this year of trying to, a new initiative down south of the canal where we're taking taxes 2 days, 1 day last week, 1 day this week, in advance of our September 30th due date to allow the folks down south of the canal, if they wish to, instead of having to drive all the way up. So that's where Denny is out collecting revenues to help pay everyone's salaries. All right? So secondly, with 20 years of service, we have Rich Kozikowski from our Treasury Department. Come on up, Rich. Rich started with Newcastle County in June 1995 as an account clerk 1 in Treasury, where he still resides after 20 years. 1998 to 2000, Rich became a Treasury Associate. 2000 to 2010, Rich became a Budget and Procedures Analyst. And from 2010 till present, he's a Senior Budget and Procedures Analyst. Rich has been instrumental in the implementation of our cashiering system, which is currently being put in throughout our library system. So everyone's familiar with our cashiering system. Rich also has been an administrator of our online banking system and is very instrumental in handling our banking and cash management system. So let's hear it for Richie for 20 years. Thank you.
Next up is going to be Assessment Office, and is Doug here? Yeah. Come on up.
Okay, the first person I'd like to recognize is Rafat Kili. She is my half of my dynamic duo. You'll meet the other half in a minute. Rafat has 20 years with the county. She's supervisor of our assessment services group. Fantastic person. Over the past 2 years, she's been doing a remarkable job. And she kind of keeps me grounded. So congratulations. Second person is the other half of the dynamic duo. That's Tammy Petrosak. Tammy is the assessment supervisor. Gosh, what to say about her? One thing I'll say, if you don't want to know the answer, do not ask the question. Tammy is a fantastic person, fantastic supervisor, and she keeps me between the lines. Congratulations.
I've been waiting a long time for this one. It's time is coming. All right, Wayne, bring a chair. Wayne Merritt, Special Services. Hardest working man in show business.
We have a whole table.
A whole table, I think you got a whole room. Yeah.
Okay, we have quite a few people, which explains we have a lot of dedicated employees, but we have a lot of years of service in Newcastle County. Originally Public Works, and back in '97 becoming Special Services. So let me start off with one of my two 45-year employees, Frank Graves, park technician. Franklin Graves started working for Newcastle County on November the 2nd, 1970. How many people were not even on this earth at that time? No, actually I was. Okay. Frank worked his way up and is now the forestry technician in property maintenance. He oversees a small but mighty crew of 4 personnel who handle all the service calls relating to trees in Newcastle County parks. At one time, we used to have 2 crews of about 12 people at home. We have 6,000 acres of parkland. I always get that into just to get a sense of the demand for service. From January 2015 to September of 2015, the forestry handled 150 cases. Now, I say that those are big jobs. Okay, that's not the everyday work that they have to do. And it is under Frank's auspices that all of that work gets accomplished. Besides working special events, requests for planting memorial trees, general tree maintenance of the parks. Frank maintains a positive attitude about his workload and enjoys meeting with the public. Our office receives many compliments about Frank and our forestry crew, and we want to recognize and appreciate Frank for all of his years of service. Thank you, Frank. Our second 45-year employee is not with us this morning, and that's William Robinson, who's an auto mechanic, who was hired in 1970. Now, 40 years of service. Lawrence Villi, senior building maintenance mechanic. Larry started in Newcastle County in 1975 as a custodian. He was promoted to a supervisory position the following year and became a maintenance mechanic in 1978. Larry is currently working out of the Connor building. He is primarily responsible for supporting many of our libraries. Thank you. Our next employee with 40 years of service, Marvin Footy, a custodian. Footy. Gotta remember Footy back in public safety building. Footy started with the county in 1975 as a custodian. He has worked in every county facility at one time or another. He's always willing to go anywhere, help out wherever he is needed. He's currently working at the Connor Complex and supporting operations in the Churchman Road Complex. Thanks, Footy. Our next 40-year employee is Rick Hernandez, who's a crew chief too in sewers, and he's not able to be with us this morning. 35 years of service, Sammy Salpizio, pump station mechanic. Rocky is one of the steady hands in our plant operations section. He's always a professional. Rocky's a tradesman who simply comes to work and gets the job done every single day. He is one of the unsung employees and heroes whose daily work ethic makes special service the success that it is. He keeps our pump stations functioning and running without any loss of service to the citizens of Newcastle County. Thanks, Rob. Next, 30 years of service. She started when she was 5. Tammy Yeoman. Tammy, administrative aide in the administrative section of the Department of Special Services, works directly for the general manager. And she typed this, so. I'm not sure I said all these things, but this is what it says. She started with Newcastle County on April Fool's Day, 1985, in Parks and Recreation. In 1986, she transferred to facilities maintenance, and then transferred to finance in 1988. In 1999, she transferred to special services, where she is a valued member of our administrative team. She always maintains a friendly, outgoing demeanor. Tammy goes above and beyond in her duties. Tammy accepts new challenges with enthusiasm, has been extremely diligent and organized in executing her duties. She's always willing to help out others in the department and is greatly appreciated for her friendly and outgoing personality. I didn't mean that. Our next employee is Gil Chandler, maintenance and construction worker. Gil started with Newcastle County on April 30th, 1985, as an M&C worker in sewers on night shift. In 1989, he transferred to Parks for 15 years doing construction work with Jim Hedrick. Gil then transferred to construction support and worked again for Jim Hedrick as an M&C. In 2013, Gil transferred to sewers maintenance night shift, where he is currently assigned, and Gil knows his job and is very dependable. Gil is a perfectionist who enjoys seeing a job completed to his satisfaction. Continuing with our 30-year employees, Charles Hayes, Jr., building maintenance mechanic. Chuck started with Newcastle County in 1985 and worked as a maintenance mechanic and a maintenance supervisor. He's very knowledgeable regarding all county facilities and is currently working out of the Sweeney Public Safety Building. He is primarily responsible for supporting public safety operations. Congratulations. Okay, I think John Husbands is next, Engineering and Environmental Services Manager. I think John wrote this, actually. John has been a county employee for 30 years. He began his service in Newcastle County on January 7th, 1985, as a parks supervisor with the County Parks and Recreation Department, working at the old Somerville Road Complex. How many people remember that one? Yeah. Larry does. And it was called what? Base R. In June 1986, John was promoted to a Parks Development Planner. In April of 94, in 86 then. In April of 94, he became the Parks Design and Development Supervisor, and in 1997, the county was reorganized under County Executive Tom Gordon, and John was promoted to Special Service Development Planner. In September of 2002, he became the Engineering and Environmental Services Manager, heading up the Engineering Division of Special Services, and he continues in that role today. As one of the top managers of the department, John is responsible for the planning, design, and construction of parks, sanitary sewer systems, and the storm sewer systems, in addition to managing all environmental compliance programs. Congratulations, John, on your dedicated service in Newcastle County, and especially the Department of Public Special Services. That's my hope. A little flashback. Jamie O'Hara, the third, facilities maintenance. If anyone is the face of plant ops, it's Jamie O'Hara. Although he has only been here a mere 30 years, he's left his mark on virtually every single aspect of plant operations. He is the go-to guy for almost every problem. He is probably number one on every speed dial for every employee in plant ops. Everyone knows him. Everyone acknowledges that he knows just about everything that needs to be known about our 180-plus pump stations and the force mains. More than just his experience, Jamie is always approachable, can always be relied upon to help with a problem. Jamie's concern for both the people and the operations are what make him such a valuable leader. Thanks, Jamie. Dave Thurman, Staff Engineer. Dave began his career with Kozikowski County on June 3rd, 1985 as a drafting technician in the planning department. He joined the Department of Public Works in 1988, where he designed sewers and storm drainage improvement projects and worked with property owners looking to connect with county sewers. Dave is currently a staff engineer in the Department of Special Services. He evaluates the impacts of proposed land development plans and letter requests for sewer capacity. He prepares sanitary sewer agreements and meets with developers and consulting engineers to discuss sewer capacity and sewer connected related issues. Dave, thank you for your service. Now we get down to our younger employees. 25 years of service. Gary D. Cole, Maintenance and Construction. Gary began his service with Newcastle County on September the 4th, 1996, in the Newcastle County Public Works Department as a custodian. In 1997, he was promoted to an M&C worker in sewer maintenance. He's a hard worker, very dependable, and always ready to work, even when getting called in at unexpected times. Gary, thank you for your service. William G. Fountain, Public Works Inspector. Bill began his service with Newcastle County on November 5th, 1990 in the Newcastle County Department of Public Works as a Public Works Inspector 2. Bill was charged with daily field review of projects funded by the county's capital project, as well as private development work such as open cut sanitary sewer and pump stations. In addition, he was called upon to assist in inspection of lines and grades in private developments to assist the Department of Development and Licensing. Bill is now classified as a Public Works Inspector in the Special Services Department. While his duties have expanded, they include detailed review of construction projects funded by the Newcastle County Capital Program, stormwater projects, construction startup of pump stations, field review of force mains, and gravity sanitary sewer and private developments. Thanks so much for listening. Michael S. Gilbert, Maintenance and Construction Worker. Mike started as a seasonal in 1985 at Brandywine Springs Park. Began his full-time service with the County Public Works Department on February 20th, 1990 as an M&C worker at Del Castle. In 1999, he moved to construction support as an M&C worker. He was green carded to trades helper with the Masons for 5 to 6 years. Mike is normally assigned to the Blacktop Road and assists with the installation of permanent road patches and repairs to other blacktop services. He may, at times, also perform flagging, drainage maintenance, snow removal, and moving supports. Mike, thanks so much. Mike Harris, Environmental Compliance Manager. As Mike's working for, I'll start this. Mike has been a long and faithful employee that can be trusted and relied upon involving any matters he's involved with. His expertise and decision-making skills are exemplary, and he's a trusted manager in the department. Mike started out in the laboratory as a lab technician and worked his way up to a section manager for the entire environmental services group, which not only involves all the workings of the laboratory and testing of the samples that are collected, but with significant industrial users, inspections, report writing, fat soils and grease management, our post-construction stormwater program, and maintenance of our NIPD's permit. Mike also represents the county executive of the Newcastle County Conservation District Board of Directors. This sounds like a lot of work, and certainly is. Mike handles the work both efficiently and professionally. And Mike, we appreciate all you've done for us over the years. Thank you. Thank you. The next 25-year employee is Wesley Carlson. Wes was here, but he had another appointment that he had to leave for, so appreciate his service. Margaret M. Leonetti, radio communicator. Margaret would be here because this is the week of fire convention, and I knew where she'd be sometimes. So this is a brief appearance up here at Newcastle. Margaret started with Newcastle County on October 22nd, 1990 as a 911 call operator. In 1999, she started with Special Services as a dispatcher and then became the front desk radio communicator. In 2011, Margaret assumed the responsibilities of the office administrator, that's the person in charge of dispatch, and continues in that role today. Margaret has been a steady presence in our dispatch office. She knows all aspects of the office and an expert in handling problems during crises such as hurricanes, snowstorms. You pick the problem, she's there. Margaret has seen and dealt with every situation, and she remains a professional at all times. Thank you so much. Bud Blocker, Crew Chief 2. Bud started his service in Newcastle County Public Works Department on August 20th, 1990. Bud started as M&C worker in sewer maintenance, was promoted to pipe layer, then mason, and then promoted to Crew Chief 2 in 2001. He's been assigned to construction support since its inception, and is very knowledgeable in all of their responsibilities, which include masonry, sanitary repairs, drainage maintenance, blacktop, moving support, snow removal. Our clean fill site at Grant Lane, you pick it, they probably do it. Bud is a past president of Local 459, highly respected by not only our 459 members, but each and every member of Special Services. Bud, thanks for all you did. Henry L. Lockard, Crew Chief 1. Hank started with Newcastle County on June 4th, 1990 as an MEO1 in Parks, and transferred to pump stations as an MEO in 1991. In 92, he was promoted to MEO2 in sewer maintenance and later construction support. In 2010, Hank promoted to Crew Chief 1 in sewer maintenance on the night shift. He's known for his solid performance on the second shift. He's a key part of our night shift response team. Hank is a great person, people person, and always makes sure all jobs are done to perfection. Hank, thanks. Raymond L. Rossi, Pumping Station Mechanic. Ray is a valued and skilled pump station mechanic who takes great pride in his work. Ray will always complete the job to the best of his ability, and more often than not, his work exceeds expectation. Ray also puts a lot of thought into his work, and he often has suggestions to improve the operation. Ray's old school in a good way, and he doesn't take shortcuts, and he doesn't do quick fixes. Ray's the kind of mechanic who takes care of the equipment as if it was his own. Ray, thank you so much. Jim, what do you say on this? James L. Sapp, tree trimmer. He's one of many of our people who take safety first, so thanks for that. Thanks for working. I never know when you get in and here. Jim Sapp began his career in Newcastle County on November the 5th, 1990 at the Forestry Department as a tree trimmer. Jim was responsible for all maintenance of trees and shrubs at all Newcastle County properties, and a few of his most memorable assignments were the Banning Park tornado and the Wilson Road straight line winds that snapped the top off the trees. Remember that tornado? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, memorable day. In all of those cases, he was with forestry, but our forestry crew does remarkable jobs. Jim has also been responsible for many of the planning and landscaping work throughout Newcastle County. Jim has been working for construction support for approximately 4 years, where with his expertise, he helped remove large blockages in streams and through planning after large sewer projects, the moving of trees and shrubs. Jim has been green carded to Crew Chief 1 for approximately the last year and a half, where he's been responsible for snow removal of the county buildings, drainage work, and our flagging operation. Thanks, Jim. Willard P. Schnees, Crew Chief 1. Francis J. Testa, motor equipment operator. Fran began his employment with Newcastle County on June 11, 1990 as an MEO1 at Baynard Stadium. He then worked at several parks as an MEO1 and was promoted to MEO2 in sewer maintenance. Eventually, Fran transferred to construction support, where he is currently assigned. Fran normally operates a dump truck or a stake body truck in support of all our responsibilities in construction support. And thanks for that. Dan Thorby, a TV grouter equipment operator, is not here today. I just want to recognize him. This is the 20-year group. These are the juniors. Let us start with Nathaniel R. Beavers, utility technician. Nate began his employment with Newcastle County on July the 10th, 1995 as an MNC worker in parks. While working in parks, he was promoted to an MEO1. In 1999, he was promoted to an MEO2. And 2 years ago, he was promoted to a utility technician. And if you look, I was just commenting, he's wearing his mates today.
Yeah, I got my
Can you wear your, okay.
My racing shoes.
His racing shoes.
I got my racing shoes.
He's got green shoes? Well, at least one green shoe. He's responsible for locating and marking sewer assets for the Mist Utility Program. So if anybody sees a green line out there, a green arrow, Nate's probably been there. It's a sewer line. He's doing it for Mist Utilities. And that's a very valuable job for us because if anybody hits our lines, it gets really expensive. Nate performs all of his tasks very well, and his work is crucial to the successful operation of the sanitary sewer system. Nate, thank you so much. And he's going to work on a patent for his shoes. Daniel P. Dunkelberger, Jr., MEO1. Dave started working for Newcastle County on January the 17th, 1995. He's currently in Motor Equipment Operator 1 and works on the mowing crews in Brandywine Springs Park, but often helps out with crews in various other parks. Dave frequently covers for Crew Chief 1 positions when needed and is happy to help in any way which he can. Dave, thanks so much. Larry R. Hall, Jr., Maintenance Construction Worker. Larry, come on down. Larry Hall began working in Newcastle County December. This is the real Larry Hall. This is real.
Thank you much.
Larry began working for the county on December 26, 1995 as an M&C worker in sewers. He's currently an M&C construction worker in parks and is based in District 3, which covers the Route 9 Newcastle area. I just heard, this was written 4 days ago. 3 days ago, he got transferred to Glasgow Park. So we'll pass up on my staff said that.
Yeah, very much.
But he still ensures that our parks are free and clear of debris and ready for use by the communities which they are located. And I really thank you for your service. Only a couple more names to go. Robert J. Payola, automotive mechanic. Rob has been an employee of Newcastle County since August the 14th, 1995. Rob has provided outstanding maintenance and repair service on a variety of vehicles in the small, light, medium vehicle range. He's extended, and now he's actually working over on the truck side. He has extended his expertise as a green carded supervisor and provided his skills on a heavy truck section, increasing his and the user's knowledge level. Recently, he also provided invaluable support in removing excess items within the county, getting them on gov deals, the website, and earning the county hundreds of thousands of dollars in proceeds in just 4 months. He creates a positive customer service work environment and has received numerous letters and accolades from his customers. Rob, thanks so much for your service. Virginia L. Wilson, account clerk. Ginny was hired on April 3rd, 1995 as a clerk typist in accounts payable at the City County building. During her 7 years in accounts payable, she was promoted to an account clerk 2, and then she was promoted to an account clerk 3 in payroll at the Government Center. In June of 2008, Ginny transferred to Special Service Fiscal unit processing payroll. Currently, she handles payroll and attendance for approximately 106 employees within facilities maintenance, internal services, and property maintenance. Jenny's knowledge and rapport with employees is invaluable to the department. Congratulations, Jenny, on these milestones. Is there any employee that I missed? I say that because there's so many names and I didn't want anybody. Okay. Let me just touch on one employee not with us this morning, Tom Miller. Tom Miller was a 45-year employee. And a lot of people didn't know Tom. Unless you went to the city-county building and you had a problem there, you probably didn't have a lot of interaction with Tom. When we gave up maintenance responsibilities a couple of years ago at the city-county building, Tom transferred to public safety. And I'm sure he continued his excellent work at that time. So just keep Tom and his family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
We're going to have Chief Elmer Setting come up, do a presentation for police, and Director Joe Bryant.
Good morning, all. First, I just want to thank the county executive for hosting this breakfast this morning for all you great employees here. In public safety, we're going to recognize 32 of our employees today, representing 800 years of service, providing a service to the residents of Newcastle County. So, thank you for this. Thank you to our employees. The one thing we do in public safety, and it was mentioned at the news conference yesterday by our county executive, we work as a team over at public safety. So if I could ask the Colonel to come forward, Chief Tan, and Chief Miller. They will recognize their employees, starting with our Colonel Seven.
Thank you, Director. I know that everyone's not here, but it's probably a good time to remind everybody that we all work shift work, and at least most of us do. And it's not that they would not like to be here, it's just that they're either on duty or they were on midnight. So we will go through the names. If you're here, please come forward. Wayne Bloomquist, 25 years of service. Wayne has done a majority of his career in the patrol division, and we're always, running into people saying, a cop gave me a ticket. I'll tell you a real brief story about something else police do. The man had kind of come to the end of his ability to deal with life and climbed up onto the rails of the Delaware Memorial Bridge and was prepared to jump. Wayne talked him down. And that's a great effort on your part, Wayne. Outstanding work. Thank you. Lieutenant Frank Calhoun just walked out the door to head to Dover to tussle with the folks down there over money. As he does, very good. He's very good at that. Sergeant Christine Caruso, one of my sergeants on the mobile enforcement team. Christine has done a very long 25 years here, including patrol in the detective division. And I just want to say congratulations, Christine. You have a tough job out there with the mobile enforcement, usually in the toughest parts of Newcastle County. Thank you. Lieutenant Pat Malone. Pat is another long time serving in our patrol division, also did a tour in the detective division, was promoted to lieutenant within the last couple of years, and is now serving as the executive officer for the patrol division for the Newcastle County Police, and does very well in it. Thank you, Pat. Captain Robert McLucas. Captain McLucas is in charge of our patrol division. However, prior to that, for quite a few years, he was in charge of our criminal investigations unit, where he spent most of his career as an extremely well-known, brilliant, and successful detective. And I thank him for his service. Thank you, Robert. Corporal Paul Mergenthaler on scene, trained Paul when he came on. I was his FTO. Sorry about that, Paul. And he's recently, he's in our criminal investigations unit and forensics division. He retired but stayed with us so we didn't lose the experience. He came on as a civilian, putting another officer on the street. I'd like to take a minute to thank the county executive for giving us the additional position so that we can put another body on the street, yet keep the experience inside the division. Thank you, sir. Lieutenant John Williamson, again, a longtime detective, but just took over a patrol division, and unfortunately, I just received his retirement memo. See, we don't get to do 45 years. You wear out doing this. 25 years is hard enough. Corporal Joe Arcangelo, Joe here. Longtime patrol officer, good man. Matthew Asfalk, lieutenant. Platoon commander in patrol, also a good man. Jimmy Hovitt, hard to miss. Hello, Jim. Jim Hovitt has done a majority of his tour in the patrol division as well, but always has shown an interest in our community services unit, and is now our Hocus and Pal officer and does a tremendous job keeping these kids on the straight and narrow. Thank you, Jimmy. Sergeant Brad Norris, I don't see him, again, SWAT operator for many, many years, still is one of our SWAT team leaders, as sergeant in the patrol division, spent a majority of his career in the patrol division. Joseph Reagan Jr., don't see Joe, longtime patrol guy, good man. Eric Selhorst, I know he's here, I saw him. Interestingly enough, Eric spent many years in our communications division as a dispatcher, and probably one of the favorites, and then decided one day he wanted to be on the other end of the radio, and does a great job for us. One of our mounted police officers, well, probably one of our best mounted police officers in my time anyway. Eric, great job, thank you. Jeff Steinberg, again, another longtime patrol officer, but Jeff is also, I believe right now, a major in the National Guard, and splits his time between the county police and serving our country. So thank you for his service.
Good morning, everyone. I'll kick off the Emergency Communications Division, and we'll get started with 40 years of service, James Battles. Jimmy got his start in Newcastle County as an automotive assistant and then moved to the Emergency Communications Division in 1980. Since then, he's been a fire medical communication dispatcher for the 911 Center since 1980. He was an integral part of my training when I was a fire medical dispatcher just starting out. In addition to Jimmy being a dependable employee, Jimmy spends time with his grandson in Little League Baseball supporting that effort. And he's also an active volunteer firefighter with Christiana Fire Company. Jimmy is the type of employee that can be at Christiana Fire Company, hear the 911 Center being extremely busy due to a storm that blows in unexpectedly. And Jimmy's that kind of employee that just shows up at work to help the 911 Center, so we greatly appreciate it. I would be remiss if I didn't mention our other two 40-year employees who couldn't be here today. Bill Streets, 40 years, he's our Assistant Chief of Administration, and then Bobby Trevor. Moving on to 20 years, we have Saul Polish, if you could work your way up. Saul Polish, he and I got our start both with the Tahoe Volunteer Fire Company many, many years ago. Saul is currently a telecommunicator police, and he's worked in the position as acting supervisor. He started as an emergency call operator in 1998, and again has helped us with training additional personnel who have been successful employees. In addition to his responsibilities for us in the communications division, Saul serves as our 3911 Union Vice President, and it's a pleasure to work with him and continue to work with him in the future to build a great employee-employer relationship. An additional 20-year employee being recognized this year would be Assistant Chief Donald Holden. Donnie got his start in the communications career on the darker side of our room. He was a Delaware State Police Communications Specialist. He and I worked together. I would be dispatching county police cars, and he would be dispatching state police cars. He later decided to make his move to Newcastle County and support our efforts. Donnie has recently been promoted. I'm sorry, he started in 1995, or no, recently promoted in 1995. Started in 1995 with Newcastle County. I'm forgetting what year it is, but recently promoted to the Assistant Chief's position. So what little time he gets to spend with his family at the beach is something that he greatly appreciates. Every minute of his day is running the operations and communications division and keeping me in line. So I greatly appreciate it.
Morning. Congratulations to all the recipients. Thank you for your dedication and your service to the citizens of Newcastle County. It's my pleasure to introduce some of the people that help us respond to the needs of over 30,000 people a year as a part of the Emergency Medical Services Division. We're going to start off with 20 years of service, Lieutenant Michael Nichols. Lieutenant Nichols was initially hired in January of 1995. He completed paramedic training and was certified as a paramedic in 1996. He was promoted to corporal in 2004, sergeant in 2013, and his current rank in May of this year, so it's still fresh. He is currently assigned as the shift commander for Platoon 3. He's also one of the original members of the tactical medic team. We have paramedics that are assigned to the police SWAT team that provide medical support on those missions, and he continues to be an active member and actually is the team leader for the medical component of that team. He has a degree in emergency services management, has received several commendations. One of the more interesting commendations that he received was for a response as a tactical medic down to the Delaware Correctional Center in Smyrna for a hostage rescue situation. So, Michael, thank you for your service. And Captain Mark Logeman. Captain Logeman is being recognized for 20 years of service. He was initially appointed to EMS in August of 1995. Went through the paramedic training program, was certified as a medic in 1996, was promoted to corporal in 2004, sergeant in 2009, lieutenant in 2013, and captain in August of this year, so that's very fresh. He's currently the interim operations commander, has been involved with projects such as the crisis negotiations team, the EMS bike team. We actually have medics that serve on bicycles and can make responses to special event venues. He's also been the public information officer for the EMS division. He holds a degree in criminal justice. He's received several departmental awards and commendations, an example of which, more recently, the multi-casualty incident bus crash that occurred on Route 1 where we had 50 patients. He was one of the responders to that. So, Mark, thank you very much for your time. Moving up to 25 years of service, Corporal William C. Wagner III. Bill was appointed to EMS in 1990. Was actually serving as a paramedic in Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. Was certified in Delaware as a paramedic in 1990 and was promoted to corporal in 2004. He's held assignments on Platoon 3, Platoon 2, as well as the power ship. Some of the projects that he's been involved with include designing and developing the specifications for vehicles. He served as a field training officer, also one of our CPR instructors. Again, some of the numerous commendations and awards he's received have included sudden cardiac arrest survivors citation, and actually every year we will get cardiac arrest survivors that are successfully discharged from the hospital, and we'll actually give them a chance to meet all of the responders that contributed to their successful discharge. So to receive that award means that there is somebody that walked out of the hospital as a result of some of the actions. That's just an example. So Bill, thank you very much for your service. At 25 years, EMS Senior Lieutenant Louis J. Rombach. Senior Lieutenant Rombach was appointed to EMS in March of 1990, was certified as a paramedic in 1991, was promoted to lieutenant in 2003, and promoted to senior lieutenant in 2010. He's held several assignments, including commander of Platoon 1. Through his career, he's actually been assigned to all 4 of our operation shifts at one point or another. He's also been assigned to recruitment and applicant processing, as well as EMS information systems. And if you've ever tried to integrate technology into EMS personnel, that's like wrangling cats, and that was one of his tasks. He's been a member of the EMS flight team, has also served as a field training officer. Luke, thank you very much for your service. Lisa A. Neal, Administrative Aide for EMS. Behind every uniformed service is someone on the administrative side that keeps things moving. And Lisa actually started her career with Newcastle County in 1990 as a clerk typist in the Office of the Registrar and Chancery, a position that was reclassified as a Deputy 1, then later reclassified again as a Deputy 2. She transferred over to the EMS division in 2007 and has been involved with several projects, such as the inauguration of the EMS division Survivors Reunion. She was part of the logistics that actually helped put that event together back in 2013. She was involved in the preparation for our initial national accreditation as an agency back in 2009. And just an idea of the significance of that, of the 80,000 some odd EMS agencies in the United States, Newcastle County is probably one of less than 200 that's ever been nationally accredited. She also has jumped in when, as a part of the team that Director Bryant talked about, when the Office of Emergency Management will activate their Emergency Operations Center. She is one of the people that will come in, even though the rest of the county may be closed, to help staff the Emergency Operations Center and be able to do the coordination that needs to take place during some of these emergencies. So Lisa, thank you very much for your service. At 25 years, Corporal David L. Lawrence. Dave was appointed to EMS in March of 1990. He was certified as a paramedic in 1991, promoted to paramedic first class in 2004, and promoted to corporal in that same year. He was part of the career development plan. He's been assigned to both Platoon 4 and Platoon 3. He's been a member of the EMS fight teams. Has served as an EMS assistant recruiter. Be very nice to this man because he is a trustee on the pension board. And all of you are here because you want that prize. Be nice to this man. He has a degree in emergency services management, has received numerous awards and commendations, most notably of which was some years ago, the Sunday breakfast mission actually had a crisis. They had run out of food and took it upon himself to actually set up and coordinate a food collection drive at paramedic stations that brought them 3,000 pounds worth of food. And the reason I mention that is because, once again, the Sunday breakfast mission is having that same crisis. He's in the middle of revisiting that that effort, so watch for opportunities to help donate food and take care of that situation. So just an idea of some of the community service that Dave has, and Dave, thank you very much. At 25 years, Kevin Copperthwaite. Kevin is currently a paramedic corporal. He was appointed again in 1990, served as a paramedic and got certified in 1991, was promoted to paramedic first class in 2004 and corporal in 2006. He's currently assigned to Platoon 3 in field operations. Actually has a degree in pre-technical fire protection engineering. And one of the passions he's had for years has been contributing to the volunteer fire service. When he used to live in New Jersey, he was actually chief of a department. He subsequently moved into Newcastle County, where he now serves as a deputy chief for Christiana Fire Company, which is one of the busiest fire companies in the state of Delaware. He has received numerous commendations and awards. Again, most notably, one was his contributions to the Delaware Trust building fire downtown. It was a high-rise building fire in the 1990s that was an extended multi-alarm incident. We ended up actually placing paramedics into some of the upper floors below where the actual fire was to be able to rehab the firefighters, and he was one of the ones that was in that forward rehab and aid station that was inside the building that was actually on fire. So Kevin, thank you very much for your service. We have just two people that were unable to be here today. I would just like to mention Richard F. Orkus, a paramedic first class with 25 years service, and Paramedic Corporal Thomas J. Murphy, who was being recognized for 35 years of service, is still serving as a field paramedic on a power shift. So don't believe you made it today.
We're done. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Sophia? Hold on. We're taking a vote. Sophia next? All right, come on.
Good morning, everyone. This is Diana Brown. We'll be doing the presentation for community services together. She oversees our library system, and we have quite a few honorees from the libraries today. But before we get into the awards, I just wanted to say I started here a year and a half ago, and Newcastle County has just been the most wonderful workplace, and specifically the Department of Community Services has been amazing. We have a team of talented and dedicated individuals, and I would just like to give a round of applause for all the staff of community services. Our first honoree from our housing division, Charles Rudloff, could not be here this morning. With 40 years of service, he has a lot of experience and a lot of vacation time, so he's on vacation today. But when I started, I interviewed all the staff, and he was one of the first people I interviewed. And it was amazing to hear all the institutional knowledge and experience he had. And with 40 years, he's actually looking to retire soon, and he'll certainly be missed. But if we could just give a round of applause for him. And now Diana's going to do our 30 years of service honorees.
I am so pleased to be here to present these service awards to our library staff. I can't tell you how many times people come up to me and say, "Oh, you manage libraries. That must be such a wonderful job. You just, enjoy sitting and reading books all day." And I say to them, you have no idea what library staff deal with. And it's interesting to follow both police and paramedics. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people in our libraries who are using it for purposes it's not intended to be used. And we are very appreciative of the response that we've gotten from local police to some of the fairly serious incidents that we've had. So our library staff serve many roles, including providing assistance to some of the neediest people in our county. We're going to begin with celebrating one of our children's librarians, Lisa Beamer. Would you like to come up here, please? Lisa Beamer has been the children's librarian at Newark Library for 30 years. And one of her favorite things that happens is when a parent comes in and says, "Oh, Miss Lisa, I used to come to your story time when I was a child." But Lisa, like so many of our other library staff, have had to make the transition from when we were just books to being full-service institutions that address literacy through traditional things like story times, but also through technology. All of our libraries have something called preschool software stations where children can come in with their families and really be introduced to library software and programs and follow that through all the way to their teen years. So, Lisa, thank you so much for your service. Elizabeth Simmons, who's also a very well-known librarian from the Children's Librarian from Kirkwood, is celebrating 30 years, but she too is on vacation after a very active summer season.
And I just wanted to add, Lisa, my daughter is a very avid library fan, and we took her around the world today, this summer, August, to look at libraries, and we saw an $89 million library, a $370 million, and at the end of the trip, I asked her what her favorite library was, and she said the Newark Library. I asked her why, and she said it was your collection of books. You have an excellent graphic novel collection and books that appeal to her. So, congratulations on the #1 library. From our housing division, I'd like to ask Sharonda Spencer to please come up. We're honoring Sharonda for 25 years of service. She actually started at the Recorder of Deeds, and from there she went to Land Use, and we stole you from Land Use, and she's been a secretary in our department for over 15 years. She's a volunteer with the Belvedere Fire Company, and she's the coordinator for our Salvation Army program. And if any of you know, the theme for the Salvation Army is doing the most good. And Sharonda, you know, getting to know you this past year and a half, that really is a theme for your life. I mean, you're always willing to pitch in and help out, and it means a lot. So congratulations. Diana is back to do another library.
Earlier, the county executive and the CEO mentioned this past year and how difficult it was and how many people were serving double duty. I'd like to ask Pat Birchnall to come up. Pat is one of those people who always steps up when you ask her to. We had an employee who had a long-term medical illness at the Appoquinimink Library, and Pat kindly stepped in and has been managing both the Appoquinimink Library and the very, very busy Newark Library for a number of years now. So we are very grateful to you for that. I also want to mention that Pat has been key to the very successful Newcastle County Reads program, which brought Walter Mosley in last spring. We had over 1,000 people at the Chase Center to hear this very popular author, and we thank you so much for that effort. Thank you, Pat. And certainly not last, but most importantly, those books and the music and the films do not automatically appear on library shelves. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that go into that. And that part of our business has changed dramatically over the past 20 years. So I'd like to recognize Susan Pettit, who's in our Technical Services Division for 20 years of service. I don't know if the county executive remembers this, but during his first term, the Technical Services Division was actually in an industrial. Do you remember we were in an industrial space over by the bridge? And really out there, it was not a good situation. So we were moved into the Bear Library, and Susan assisted with that move, and then we moved again into the Gilliam building. But for those of you, last year we circulated over 4 million items in Newcastle County libraries, and you can thank this lady here for making sure that those items were available for circulation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. If we could have Mr. Ciro Poppiti come forward.
Oh, you can continue to applaud.
I'm only kidding, you're not on.
Okay.
And you're going to right, thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I have the honor of pinch hitting for Ken Boulden, and we are honoring Anna Poor from the Clerk of the Peace. Come on up, Anna. 25 years. And Anna, you're the epitome of why I always wanted to work for Newcastle County. You know, I'm sort of the newbie here. I'm just coming on 5 years. And I've always wanted to work for Newcastle County because I saw people like Anna who do a magnificent job, just like you, who are part of a team and that make our county great. So I want to thank all of you because you pulled me into this whole team, and I love working for Newcastle County. And Anna, come on up, come on up. Wills and the Clerk of the Peace are next to each other on the same floor, second floor, downtown. And on the Marriage Bureau, at the Clerk of the Peace, everybody's happy. All the blushing brides and all the grooms, everybody's celebrating. And on my side of the floor, everybody's crying, everybody's upset, everybody wants to fight over the nickel left in the estate, right? And so we look to our friends at the Marriage Bureau to lift our spirits up. And Anna voices our spirits every day. So we, from Wills, say to you, thank you. I know Ken Boulden doesn't trust anybody, but he trusts you because he lets you handle the money. I do know that. So congratulations and thank you for everything you do for us. I appreciate it.
Trinidad Navarro, Sheriff's Department.
See anybody else? I think I'm last. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good in alphabetical order.
It's a pleasure to be here. Like many other offices, departments in the county, we have a very senior staff in the office. We are recognizing 3 people today. 2 of them can't be here because combined they have 75 years experience. So that means they have 7,000 hours of vacation. So like Sophia, they're simply not here today. But the first person I'd like to recognize is Diane Baker. She's a 45-year employee. She's one of those ones that's not here. We joke with her that she's when she's not in the office, she's running back kicks for to play special teams for the Eagles. So she's not working, she's training. The next employee who's not here is a 35-year employee, Lita Gatsby. And Lita's off the entire month of September. She's got that much vacation. The one person who is here and who I'd like to recognize and ask to step up front here is Patricia Privish. Everybody knows her as Patty. Patty is modeling our new uniforms. Can you turn around and she's she's a 30-year employee. She's been with the Sheriff's Office since I was in 10th grade. I tell her that all the time. She is a model employee. She really is. She's the person who shows up for work, doesn't cause any problems. She's the happiest person in the world because she got a new car. Her only complaint was it didn't have a soda dispenser in it. But we want to thank the county executive and thank county council for allowing us, for the first time in history, at least as far back as we can go, to buy those new cars for the employees. For years we had the old hand-me-down police cars that got about 6 miles to the gallon. You know, we could race around and chase people, but we don't do that. So we're very thankful for that. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
There's a couple people who aren't on this list, and I think it's because there was some time in between when they served and they either retired or the term was up, and then they came back. And I don't have anything for them today, but I just wanted to recognize them. Stuart Snyder, my chief deputy, he has a combined 40 years with Newcastle County. And my good friend who's seated right in front of me, Tom Gordon, who had 20 years with the police department or so, and now 10 years with Newcastle County. So he's a 30-year employee. So hopefully next year we give him an award as well. I think I'm done. Are we done?
You're done.
Okay.
Save the best for last. Mr. George Haggerty, land use.
Thanks, Jim. I was pretty sure you forgot us. We're used to that.
Not the least bit surly.
No. I'm bringing some of my staff members and we're going to try to wrap this up for you, so I've got everybody coming up at the same time. Joe, you kind of took my thunder a little bit because I do want to thank the county executive and the CAO and the folks that all put this all together. It is an important thing. When I started out a long time ago, like say 1971, I'd look at this group and say, golly, look at those old folks. As I walk through those paces over the years, you kind of look and you see you are the reason, and you're a majority reason as to why we have a good record, why we're thought of well as a government, and why we provide excellent service. Because there is a tremendous amount of wealth and knowledge and experience and service sitting in this room. And for all of you who have made that journey, thank you very much. It's very important. It's very special. And I know it means a lot to the county executive as well. It makes his job tremendously easier when he goes out and talks to the folks in the communities that we all represent, to know that he's got a workforce like this behind us. The business model of today is not seeing this. The business model of today is we're in business for 10 years and we move on. Technology takes over and we do something else. So we're a rare breed. We're an appreciative breed, and we're a dedicated breed of people that provide service to the citizens of the county that we serve. And many of you have been doing it for a very long time. You've been doing it exceedingly well. So thank you very much for that. And I've got three folks here that we're going to honor, and I've got to my left is my Assistant GM Reed McMillan and Planning Manager Anthony Kozikowski. And we have three employees, Anita, Melissa, and Joe. Anita, we're going to start with first because she's got 30 years. She was at age 12. She began going over to Brandywine Springs Park and volunteering and helping out, right? And from Brandywine Springs, Anita spent time in assessment, spent time working in the GM's offices, and for the past 15 years in the land use department has been involved in doing permit processing work. Anita currently manages all the commercial permits that are issued. So the big projects that come along, the complicated projects that come along, Anita does that. In addition to that, one of the things that Anita did just recently is went out and got a certification from the International Code Council for permit processing techs, and she did a good job at that, and she passed. And we just thank you very much, Anita, for the services you provide. Great, great employee. Thank you. Okay. Melissa Hughes began in 1990 as a drafting tech and assessment, reading legal descriptions and deeds and plotting deeds. She's been involved in that. She came to work for planning and land use for a period of time. She went back to mapping. But I recently sought Melissa out because we had a position available. She had tested. She'd done very well in the testing process. And I said, Melissa, you need to come back on the team here. You need to come work with us. She goes, I really would like to do that. I'm really excited about doing that. But I've got a job that I've got to finish first. Because Melissa was helping the 911 center put the GIS layers out for the 911 dispatch. And she said, I can't come work for you. I can't take my promotion or take that promotion until I get my work finished and completed there. That gives you kind of the dedication that we see in folks that make it really special. So Melissa, thank you very much. She eventually came to go to work Joe Abley. Joe Abley's been with the department for 25 years, graduate of UVA. Worked in the city of Wilmington for a period of time, realized that he needed to come to the enlightened world, came to Newcastle County, and has been involved in comprehensive planning. Joe is one of the folks that is going to have the benefit of actually seeing 2 development codes put in place. He was instrumental and worked and involved in the first UDC process in 1997, 1998, and is involved in the new updates of the UDC process today. We just all came from a meeting last night, a community meeting, and one of the primary comments that I got back at that meeting last night was, I can't believe how engaged and involved your staff is. We had, the entire staff was there, they were involved, they were working with people, the community members, storyboards, taking information and taking comments and talking about the issues. They were all there, from some of the consultants that we hired to the community members that actually showed up. The number one comment that I got was, wow, your staff is really into this. And they are really into this. And consequently, we're going to have a better product because of it. So Joe's also worked in the capital budgets. He's worked on impact fees and done a lot of stuff. So Joe, thank you for your time, for your energy. Now are we finished?
Now we're finished. Good job. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Oh, Tony said he forgot to start the film, so we have to do it all over again. Thank you very much, everybody. It was a great time.